The Silent Hill 2 Remake combat reveal trailer was shown at Sony State of Play earlier this week, after over a year of silence surrounding the project. And I've pretty much been through the 5 stages of grief already with this one, and I'll just say off the bat that my first impressions weren't great. I've been very vocal in the past about my dislike for Bloober Team, and I felt like at the time, the trailer just kind of proved my worries right. Well, after a few dozen rewatches of the trailer, coupled with some interesting information that's come to light since the reveal, I'm sort of equidistant between thinking it'll be awful to sort of being quite hopeful about it. Let's get all the negatives out the way first, okay, because the positives actually contain, well, at least in my opinion, more interesting news here. Okay, Band-Aid being ripped off. Now, firstly, the animation quality shown in this trailer is horse shit. It looks like something fan-made, and no, not in a good way. The goofy way in which James just walks or opens a door just stick out as incredibly stiff, unnatural, and jarring. The way James points his weapons doesn't seem to be properly married up to the center of the screen, or at least with the absence of a reticle, it seemed that the shots from the handgun weren't landing where you think they would or should, creating this sort of janky disconnect. Also, all of the muzzle flashes for all of the weapons looked very bad, again sort of adding to this tackiness that seemed to tarnish the entire trailer. James's swings with the bat lacked impact, be it the lack of satisfying blood effects, or it could be that the weapon sound effects were across the board falling completely flat, sounding undercooked and low budget. And while I'm mentioning blood effects, what was with that sort of green and yellow slime that was coming out of the enemies? That has got to go. I cannot think of a single decent reason for changing something like that. There's also this weird pebble-like material that seems to break from the bubblehead nurse's face when spanked with a buckshot from close range, which still has me sort of scratching my chin on what that's supposed to be. I mean, yeah, let's have bits of enemies breaking apart when we shoot them point blank with a shotgun. That shit is cool, but let's have it be pieces of flesh, not rock. It's kind of weird I even have to say that. James's hair was a bit too heavy on the old bleach blonde thing in some of the shots too, unless another creative decision was to remove the need of a flashlight in favor of James's hair just illuminating the path in front of him. Let's get a bit of toner on that mop and calm it down a bit, yeah? The monsters they showed us, which were the lying figures, the mannequins, and the bubblehead nurses, all didn't seem to be much of a threat too. They all just wanted to go at James one at a time and either stood in line writhing about waiting to die or just wandered around aimlessly. The game also apparently comes complete with nurses that mantle over knee-high objects in a very sort of humanistic way, making them look more like cosplayers hopping the security barrier at Comic-Con rather than dangerous manifestations of James's psyche. But there was one scene which had me wincing from unbearable cringe. Let's watch this scene together, okay? And you tell me what you think's wrong with it. Besides the fact that this looks like part of an episode of Silent Hill Ascension, which is probably the most insulting comparison I could make, this here lying figure has engaged in a little grapple with James, prompting an immersion-breaking QTE spam X moment, but that's not even the worst part. The problem is, the lying figure doesn't have any fucking arms. How is it holding James in place here? It's so goofy, and the on-screen splatter effect has got to go in the garbage too. It looks horrible. It looks like something ripped from a game from the mid-2000s. The pacing of this trailer was just far inferior to the one that we got in 2022, and I believe there's a reason behind that, which we will get to in just a minute. But fans have already cut better-looking trailers and posted them on Reddit. I think Silent Hill being a mostly narrative experience, it would have helped pace the trailer a bit better with some voice lines from the supporting cast, with cutaways to perhaps Eddie at the bowling alley or the Maria behind bars scene. I know this was a combat reveal trailer, but they didn't just show combat, did they? There were like puzzles and different kinds of cutscenes. It all just felt very rushed together and out of sync with the musical score. Alright, that's basically my condensed list of all the negatives that I found, the most important ones anyway. But let's move on to the positive stuff now, because I do think there's some really interesting stuff here. I did say it at the time of the reveal, but if you were to screen grab any frame of the environment or James in the environment, it looks incredible. The attention to detail is staggering in some of the instances. I love how the fog looks, and Bloober Team are using their prowess and skills in the art department quite well here, with it being very true to the source material, all while bringing it up drastically in visual fidelity. The original PS2 textures still hold up today in my opinion, but that's just because of how strong of an art direction that Team Silent had back then. But as this is a more modern remake on Unreal Engine 5, it's about all I could really ask for in terms of graphics. There are a few cool moments in the trailer that flash by, but if you go frame by frame, you'll see some nice little Easter eggs, such as when James finds the handgun in the trolley of room 301 in the Woodside Apartments. The trolley's got the logo of the convenience store 8 on the side of it, which is a location in old Silent Hill that you would have come across if you played through Harry Mason's story in Silent Hill 1. It's a pretty nice callback in my opinion, and it'll be interesting to see how much of that stuff is in the full game for players to uncover and find. There's a very quick shot of Eddie being sick in the toilet of the Blue Creek Apartments, which is where he's found in the story of Silent Hill 2. So technically he has been shown off, albeit a few blurry frames. The faithfulness to the original with the puzzles they've shown look awesome too, even showing off this cupboard puzzle which looks to be a brand new one. So it's nice they're letting us know that they are only adding or supplementing, not taking away things from the original that we know and love. I say love, but that coin puzzle in the 5 holes thing always halts me in my tracks. Me trying to get my smooth brain to decipher the riddle. Takes me ages. And I guess it ain't gonna change in the remake. The monster designs all look fantastic, and I'm glad to see some variations between the enemy types too. There's some differently dressed mannequins and bubblehead nurses, which should make it more immersive when there's a few of these guys on screen, and they don't all look like they've just popped out of a clone machine. There's also the monster sounds, radio static, and the siren all sound either directly from the old audio or replicated so well that I can't tell the difference. Either or, I'm glad it sounds instantly recognizable. Although they did reuse a track from their first trailer, which is a bit lame in my opinion, but Akira Yamaoka's revised OST is sounding so good from what we've heard so far, and I'm dying to just hear the rest of it. I think it might be one of the things about this project I'm most positive that I'm going to love. But here's where things get a bit more ambiguous. Since the trailer came out, in fact, a day after the trailer came out, the KONAMI UK Twitter handle released a 7-second audioless video of James walking towards a bubblehead nurse and preparing his handgun. This short video looked miles ahead of what we got at that State of Play trailer. The way James walked looked fluid, the bubblehead nurse convulsed in a more true to form way, and pretty much everything about this mysterious 7-second clip is just better. The lighting has more atmosphere and looks more terrifying. James's hair is the right color and it moves convincingly. The animation quality actually looks more on par with what Capcom are doing with their RE remakes. Now there is a reason for this, apparently, and it hasn't been confirmed nor debunked. But the footage from the State of Play trailer was apparently almost identical to the footage Dusk Golem had seen from May 2023. So this trailer had been mostly put together back then to show the progress of the game, but for whatever reason it wasn't released. I would imagine if this were true, it would have been because of the Resident Evil 4 remake had hit the shelves late March that year and was getting 10 out of 10s across the board. Releasing the Silent Hill 2 combat trailer would have maybe have been too directly compared to RE4 and of course not getting a favourable reaction from the audience. I mean, not that it really did this time, but... So that mysterious 7-second clip from KONAMI UK looks to be a more up-to-date and polished build than the one that we got in their combat trailer. Just makes you think why? Right? Why? Why show such a shitty looking version of the game that you're trying to hype up? Well, I always thought it was Bloober Team that would have had to have put these things together, but judging by what they've said on Twitter, it seems that Konami are more to blame for any kind of communication regarding the game, and that includes trailers. Bloober Team haven't reposted or even retweeted the combat trailer on their own handles, which is very odd as companies are usually proud to be able to show off their work as soon as the publisher decides it's okay to do so. Also, the developer interviews Konami have been putting out regarding Silent Hill: The Short Message, which by the way I'm going to go into in a separate video, so subscribe for that. They admit that they feel slightly out of touch of all this stuff now and are finding their footing again with making AAA horror titles. So would it be fair to also assume that they're rusty with promotion? Let's face it, showing 7-second poor resolution videos with no audio as a hype building tweet is bizarre. It's not normal. So if there is any validity to this theory, then the version of Silent Hill 2 Remake we saw in the combat reveal isn't telling us what we can truly expect in the full game in many ways. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if the 7-second weird mysterious clip is more sort of indicative of a closer build or more of a final build, then that combat trailer really doesn't mean anything, and we can just take the good bits out of it. And also now they're going to have the fans weighing in on it and saying what they like and don't like, so look at all the things that can change. Like they can't, like the animation looks smoother in that 7-second clip, right? Like the audio, things like that, those things can be placeholders and they can be changed. Like, I don't think this project is doomed, and I did think it was when I first saw the trailer. So for me, I feel way better about it now, and I'm glad that I had to work all week and I couldn't like make a knee-jerk reaction video and just get something out. I'm glad I managed to sort of have time to think, you know? I don't think we should be as pessimistic as we thought we were. So with all that said, I know that was a wordy one, but what did you guys think of the combat reveal? Are you pissed? Are you happy? And also, what do you make of the idea that we might not have seen the up-to-date build in that video? Is it cope? Is it believable? Let me know in the comments. Chuck a like on the video for me, would ya? Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see ya when I'm looking at ya. Feels good to be back.